Finally, we are there at step 10. And in step 10, I'm going to talk to you about what we have seen in steps 1 to 9. This is the final presentation on how to answer a P2 exam question in 10 easy steps. And I'll just remind you of what we've done so far. So the first recording I told you the question approach, and the question approach is that you look at the requirements, which in the context of the question that we were doing, that we have finished, which is Kate, what we did was we identified that the requirement was discuss. Discuss essentially means say what you like. What the markers have is freedom to mark whatever you say. So as long as what you're saying is relevant to what is in the scenario, you will be given a mark. Well, that is providing they can understand you. And they will be able to understand what you're saying if you have a question approach that is appropriate. And the appropriate question approach, the one that the examiner, the markers are looking for, is the very simple heading sentence, heading sentence, heading sentence. For a 5 marker, the examiners are looking, the markers are looking for at least 5 clear ideas. It's basically 1 mark per idea. So if you go idea, heading sentence, 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 5 times, then you will score 5 marks. And that's why the question approach that we were just discussing all the way back in step 1 was recommended to you. The big block of 8 videos were me going through the question Kate, which there's no such thing as an easy exam question, but this one's reasonably straight. I wouldn't say it's easy. I wouldn't say it's difficult. It is difficult, of course, but comparatively, it's kind of in the middle of P2 type exam questions. Part C, you might remember, was very difficult. Part D and Part B, probably not too bad, providing you have the right techniques. And the right technique is to learn your knowledge and then apply it in the way that I showed you over the previous 8 recordings, the previous 8 from step 2 to step 9. Now we're doing step 10, and I want to summarize what we've done. I'm going to make 3 points about how to pass P2, particularly these narrative answers, which I think is where students are weakest of all. Presentation is critical to exam success. Take the effort to make your answers stand out and be easy to mark. And it's a pretty simple thing that the markers are looking for. If you go heading sentence, heading sentence, heading sentence, until you have the same number of headings and the same number of sentences as there are marks in the scenario, then you're already, 7/10 of the way there to a pass. You're 7/10 of the way there, hopefully, to getting the full 5 out of 5, the full 6 out of 6. Lay out relevant knowledge quickly and simply. Do you remember the top-down that I was recommending? So learn your knowledge, but don't lay out the relevant knowledge. So do lay out the relevant knowledge, but lay it out quickly and simply. So don't over-explain your knowledge, because this is not a knowledge. It's not a knowledge-based exam. It's all about application. You need knowledge to, get started, but you don't need knowledge to pass. What you really need to pass is the application. So you lay down your knowledge quickly and also simply. Don't try and be too clever. Try and keep your answer as simple as possible. The questions are really complicated. So even the simplest answer is going to be complicated enough. Don't make it any more complicated than it is by giving a complicated style of answer. So very simple, clear English laid out quickly in the context of knowledge. And then show your analysis of the scenario by applying the knowledge. And really, to be honest with you, it's all about the knowledge. The examiner doesn't actually say this out loud, but if I can give you some sort of a feel for the way he feels about the importance of knowledge and application, we're talking 30% and 70%. If all you do is just whack down some knowledge, then literally you've failed. If all you do is not, whack down some knowledge, you've failed. You're probably going to whack down the wrong knowledge, which is going to get you 0. But if you whack down the right knowledge, it's still going to get you marks, but it's not really what the examiner is looking for. What the examiner is looking for is the application. I guess it's pretty much impossible to get the application without a bit of knowledge. But if somehow you manage to just do application without any knowledge, you could pass. So the main thing is, really, really make sure your knowledge is okay but don't over-align it. Make sure that your application is where it's at. And the way to do that is by practicing questions. So practice this question, Kate, that we've studied over the last few recordings, to try and make sure that you get the ideas of how to do a narrative answer for P2. That is how, what I've done over the last 8 recordings in particular, the big body, that is how to answer a P2 exam question. It may not be easy steps, but that's the way to do it. So easy or otherwise, that is the way to do it. I hope you have found this useful. Best of luck with your P2 exam, and I mean that quite sincerely. So it's been a pleasure to present to you over the last few recordings, and I have been Martin Jones, and I wish you the very best of luck.